What is up, Breaking Bad fans? Kino here. We're back with another Breaking Bad log. Today we're looking at the 7th episode of Season 3, 1 Minute. Now, this episode opens with a scene that takes place on the surface of the sun. Oh wait, no. It's actually a flashback to Mexico in the 1980s. Hector Salamanca is watching the twins, Marco and Lionel, play. He then talks on the phone about Gus, voting that the cartel should not work with him in the drug trade, although he's ultimately overruled. When Marco breaks one of his toys, Lionel declares he wants him dead. Hector decides to teach him a lesson and shoves Marco's head underwater. He forces Lionel to save him, teaching him the lesson that familia es todo, meaning family is everything. Back in the present, Jesse returns home after destroying the RV. Hank arrives, knowing that Jesse was behind the call that got him away. Hank ends up beating Jesse to a bloody pulp, and we can see that the tension that Hank has been going through finally boils over, and he crosses the line by attacking Jesse without cause. There's some great cinematography here, with Hank in silhouette, to emphasize the dark place that he's in emotionally. At the hospital, Saul tells Jesse that this attack will work in his favor. The DEA will now leave him alone in order to prevent a lawsuit. Walt arrives and apologizes for what happened to Jesse. Jesse, however, makes it clear that he intends to sue Hank in revenge. Both Walt and Saul advise against going public with this because of the attention it will bring on their drug business. However, Jesse says that if he gets caught, he'll simply rat on Walt in order to make a deal. Privately, Saul advises Walt that he may need to get rid of Jesse before he gets them all in trouble. Later, Skylar visits Walt at his new condo. She asks that he try to convince Jesse not to press charges against Hank. She reminds him that Hank is his family, but Walt coldly responds that he isn't anymore because they're now divorced. He then asks her to leave. However, later at the lab, Walt notices an error in the temperature that Gale made. This causes the entire batch to be ruined, wasting a lot of time and money. Now, I don't think that he actually made a mistake. I think Walt is just using it as an excuse in order to get him fired. He then calls Gus and asks to replace Gale with Jesse. Though Gus is hesitant, he eventually agrees. Walt then goes to Jesse, offering him a 50-50 partnership in Gus's operation if he'll drop the lawsuit. He actually offers him half of his own $3 million, meaning he's taking a massive pay cut in order to get Jesse on board. However, Jesse refuses, as he wants nothing to do with Walt anymore. He states that everything he loved, Jane, his friends, his family, are all gone now due to his involvement with Walt. He also knows that Walt doesn't care about him at all, and only wants what he wants. Walt then goes to leave, but as he does so, he compliments Jesse's meth. Now, Walt's approval was something Jesse was always striving for, so later he calls Walt and agrees to the deal. Meanwhile, the cousins gear up to kill Hank. They go to a black market arms dealer for supplies. He gives them a hollow point bullet as a freebie. This will be important in a little bit. However, they're in the market for vests. When the salesman shows that he's wearing one, they end up shooting him in order to test it out. He survives, and the cousins end up paying for the jackets and leaving him there with a broken rib. Back at the DEA, Hank gets a lawyer as the investigation begins. Marie tells Hank to lie and say that Jesse attacked him, but Hank refuses. He admits that he's been unraveling since his experiences with Tuco and El Paso, and that attacking Jesse was wrong. He admits that he isn't the man that he thought he was, and prepares to end his career as a cop. He then gives his statements to the DEA. Though truthful, it implicates him, and he is suspended and has his gun and badge taken away. However, his boss reveals that Jesse Pinkman is no longer pressing charges. Though he has no idea why, his boss says that he might have a guardian angel out there looking out for him, which is something we'll talk about more later. As Hank is heading home, He gets a call from a filtered voice, letting him know that 2 men are coming to attack him. Though he thinks it's a prank, he's alerted when he sees the cousins. He ends up crushing Lionel with the car, but ends up shot by Marco. Though vulnerable, Marco decides to kill Hank with an axe instead, in order to send a message. However, Hank notices the bullet that the truck driver gave Marco on the ground. He loads it into his gun and ends up blowing off Marco's head. He then lays there bleeding from his wounds as the episode ends. The title of the episode, 1 Minute, refers not only to the warning Hank is given, but also how long Marco had to live when Hector was holding him underwater. The wooden chair that Hector sits in looks like a wheelchair, foreshadowing his fate. Also, during his call, he calls Gus Generalissimo, meaning general. I'll be doing a video on Gus's background later, but it's implied that he may have worked for Chilean dictator Pinochet's government. The time of the attack on Hank, 307, is the episode number as well, Season 3, Episode 7. Gail's line, "This might be the beginning of a beautiful friendship," is a reference to the film Casablanca.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Finally, this is the only episode of the series that brought a tear to my eye. I didn't cry at Jane's death, the finale, or any of the other major climactic moments. However, Hank's speech about not being the man he thought he was, as well as Jesse's speech about Walt ruining his life, both really got to me. They're some of the most fantastic pieces of acting in this masterpiece of a show, and I just wanted to call that out. And that's pretty much everything I have to say about the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one, coming soon.
I need you to listen very carefully. 16 people are coming to support you on Patreon. You have 1 minute. Russell, Sean, Heart of Markness, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, Obscracing Media, Daz J. Kit, Conan Higgins, Sam Cedarland, Don Lucania, Celery Man, Jenna Marie Johnson, and Brad Smith Studios.